For this lesson, I will be demonstrating how we can solve inequalities with variables on both sides. As in the previous videos that have to do with inequalities, which I've illustrated thus far, we can treat these as equations in our mind. The only thing we have to worry about is if we happen to divide or multiply by negative numbers. So let's look at the first problem. This says 5 plus 2m is less than negative 3m. When I have variables on both sides, I want to decide which variable term I should move. Well, to help guide me, I need to determine which move, should I move the 2m or the 3m, the negative 3m, will give me a positive result. We want our variable terms to be positive. Now, if I do end up with a negative, technically it won't matter because I'll still get the same answer. But in the end, we'll have to make sure to divide out that negative, which means we would have to flip our inequality. It's just extra work. So if we can make it positive in the beginning, then we'll be okay. So in this example, I don't want to subtract 2m because if I subtract 2m, a negative 3m minus 2m will keep it negative. So I'm actually going to want to add 3m here, because I'll get a positive answer here, which is positive 5m. So really now what I have is 5 plus 5m is less than 0. Now for some of you this looks weird because it's less than 0. But remember, 0 is on the number line. This is okay to have. But since my m term is now on the left, I'm going to want to move my 5 by subtracting to the other side. So now it's 5m is less than negative 5. At this point, I would divide by 5 on both sides. This is 1, and this is going to be negative 1. So my answer is m is less than negative 1. So, go ahead and graph our solution. Now, m must be less than negative 1, so we'll start with 0. And since it's less than this negative number, that means it's going to just continue to keep getting more and more negative as it goes to the left. So, it's less than negative 1, so it's going to have an open circle on negative 1, and it's going to the left. Now, in our second problem here, we have, our x is on both sides. This is 2 times the quantity of 5 minus x, which is less than 3x. So, what I first need to do is distribute this 2. 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times a negative x is negative 2x. This is less than 3x. Now, just like before, I need to decide which variable term should I move. Which one will give me a positive result? If I subtract 3x, I'm going to end up with a negative 5x here. So really, I'm going to want to add the 2x, because that gives me a positive 5x. So now my problem is 10 is less than 5x. Just like before, I'm going to divide by 5. So I'm trying to isolate my variable. This is 1 and this is 2. And as I've been doing in the previous videos, this is 2 is less than x. If I rewrite it so my variable's first, it's x is greater than 2. So if I draw my line, x now must be greater than 2. So let's go 1 before 2, which is 1, then 2, 3. Since it's greater than, it's going to be increasing. So I'm going to draw just enough to show the progression. So x is greater than 2. So open circle, and since it's greater, it's increasing, it goes to the right. So when we solve inequalities with variables on both sides, what we want is a positive variable term. So when we go to make that first move, we need to decide, okay, which one do we want to move? In this case, we moved the negative 3m to the left, and in this case, we moved the negative 2x to the left by doing the inverse operations.